I'm done.
We should put some like Cholo Jeopardy music on this part right here, huh?
You know what I've been putting down for your guys' music is don't put me down if I'm brown from War.
Oh yeah, that's the yeah. YouTube would be like, oh no, you guys can't. Yeah, that's
Franchise
Right?
rights.
copyright.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
damn YouTube, man. Damn.
Damn you, YouTube! People are already tuned in already. Yeah, and they could totally hear us right now. Oh
Don't put me down.
no, look at oh shit! Wait, are we done? Hey, there we are. Hey, welcome everybody. And we already got a comment from 10 o'clock this morning. There you go. Thank you, thank
Right
you.
on.
Thank you all for tuning in to another Stay Brown podcast. We got the national commander Ben with us, and our special guest. I am not even going to say his name. What's your name?
Just call me Ichtaka or Taka if that's a little easier.
Taka. Okay,
There you go.
Taka.
I can say that.
What does that mean, Taka?
Ichtakat is so there's a bit of a history to that. When I was in college, I got really inspired by Malcolm X and his history of like his understanding of who he was and where he came from, and not really feeling connected to his tribes and where he came from and his nations. And so
Mm.
he always put his last name as X, right? So I wanted to pay a little homage to that, and I went to look for my book, Analytical Nahuatl, and it's a dictionary, and I saw the word hidden or secret, and
Mhm.
I chose that, which is Ichtakat. So that's what that means. And later on, when I joined a Nahuatl speaking class and how to write it and stuff, my teacher there gave me the name Cueyapaki, which means happy frog. And so
Happy what?
happy frog.
Happy Frog.
Happy
Yeah,
frog?
yeah. So un poco, I'm
So,
a big boy, so I'm always chilling and happy and everything. They're like, you're always happy, man. Te mira como un sapo, so ahí está, happy frog.
that's dope.
Damn.
That's
So
dope.
very, very honored to have it. And so I rock with that. I wear it with pride, and I always tell everybody, I'm like, call me a Cueyapaki, each takat. If it's easier, just call me Taka. I know it's a little hard for a lot of people out there, so I don't expect them to be like, hey, what's up, Ishtakat?
Well, yeah. Well, that language is absolutely beautiful. I love it. I
Kelly.
kind of wish that I had a class that I could study in because it's just the sound and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool. I think it's
No,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
very
They,
complex, very heavily layered, and it's like they got the galato stops too in there, so you got to be all proper with it.
and still widely spoken in Mexico too.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
like 68 different dialects of it.
Oh wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Right on. So, my name is Quilatzli.
Mm. Isn't that
So,
a wolf?
well, it CUI is the wolf. CUE is so it's CUITLATLACHTLI is the wolf. So the
Mhm.
CUE is the bear.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that
Yeah,
it's like it's two different meanings. It's almost spelled the same except for the I and the E.
that's
So yeah. But yeah, it's that's from what I understand. Until I've corrected, and then that's what I'm running with.
what are they?
That's what I'm running with. So
Well, I love it. It sounds beautiful, man.
yeah, well, welcome to the show, man. Really appreciate you being here.
No, thank
I
you for
hear you
having
got
me. Plaza Comatli. Seriously.
yeah, I hear you got some good stuff for us.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see here. Get the camera swinging around. So earlier I was explaining how I had the opportunity to work with Jaguar Ariola,
Mhm.
and this is one of the images he. Oops, sorry. I'm like, there we go. I worked with him a little bit, and so he had me like work with a couple of album designs, and this is a lanyard that you can also get as well, like this design right here.
Oh, right on.
But This is one of the designs he had me work on for him. There's the Jaguar sun rising in the back. And then you got the Shilko Watt coming out of the microphone as he's rapping, speaking that truth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got his Atoni shirt with his Atoni flag right there. Because he's Atoni. So, and then I also
Sweet.
got this this one over here. This is an album cover he had me do. So they did him really dirty. He asked me to, he sent me some pictures of what they did to him. So this is exactly what they did to him, man. They jumped him. They were tearing up his mask and they were beating him up. And
Who's
that was
there?
San Bernardino Police County right here.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, he asked me to do
Isn't
that.
San Bernardino broke? I
Yeah,
heard
Está
they were
Piero.
broke, couldn't even hire cops.
Look at that. Yeah, no, they're hiring puercos fool. Shit, leader.
Oh man.
Is that,
So
is
yeah,
that a cold sore on his lip?
yeah. This fool's got cold sore. He's got a pink eye. Look at him.
Holy cow, you got a pig nose?
Oh yeah,
He's got eye mocos. Look at that.
everything.
Yeah.
He's got it all. Shit, and his buddy over here too. Shit. ¿Dónde está? Aquí está, íralo.
Oh, look at that. That's so accurate, though.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
So
Oh,
are
man.
those paintings or
Yeah. So I use Procreate. I also do classical work. So I do like oil, acrylic. I do sculpture. I've done photography to better get a better idea of like contrast and like different lightings. I've also done film and I've done writing. So I'm also working on a book. But this is also so one of the I'm working on a coloring book for the Brown Berets right now for the Christmas event that we're doing.
Mhm.
So the Tres Reyes event. And so
Yes.
I'm using celestial signs. So like I found out that the Big Dipper, we used to represent it as the smoking mirror, the one that you see Tezcatlipoca has on his foot. So that represents the Big Dipper, and I'm like, oh, word. So what are the other ones? I'm like, I couldn't really find many other ones, but I was like, there's a Sol, So I'm like, there's an eclipse right there. So these are all from the Codex. San Bernardino, not San Bernardino. Now I'm thinking about San Bernardino.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the codices. But yeah, some stars y todo. So this one's a shooting star.
Damn.
This one
Wow,
took me a
that's
little
pretty
bit.
Yeah.
That's bad, man.
And all these are these from like from written how do you call it?
Kodak.
Eyewitness events from that when they were Aztecs or back in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
day or
So each one of these are like very heavily layered. So earlier I was explaining like the symbol. A lot of people will see this and be like, "Oh, it's a Pokeball, right?" And it's like, no. So it's very heavily layered. It's not just an eye. So these are eyes, but they represent the ability to see, which was seen as a divine by the Mexica. And so whenever you see this eye there, it symbolizes sacredness. And so wherever you see that like stamped onto something else, that means that object's also sacred. So you'll see that a lot in like a lot of different codes, like different images, like right here. You have them here over here. You have them. Let's see. Here's a codex image that I'm going to try and do, and you can see that even the representation for one se is like a little star symbol. So, and that's even divine in itself because like the ability to count from 0 to 1 and all the way up to 100 y todo. So, yeah, very very heavily sacred stuff.
how
There's
did you
another
get
one I
into
just
this?
finished.
You
Oh
wake up one
man,
morning and say, "Well, look, I'm gonna do this."
see, well,
Right?
it kind of started like this, man. So I was in middle school, and my parents moved out here to like just the most conservative police state that you can imagine, Utah, right? Yes,
Oh
there,
wow!
Simon.
Go, right?
I call this place Ute Titlan just because I
Mhm.
like to address like hey, this is the Utes land. I'm here next to the Utes. But I went to middle school, and I remember the middle school teacher was like, all right, we're gonna skip chapter like 15 or chapter 20 or something like that. And I was like, why? And I went back and I saw that it was during the they were gonna cover the colonization of the Americas, and he
Mm.
didn't want to cover that. And I was like, why are we covering this? And he's like, oh, we got some students in the class that might feel a a little indifferent or might feel a little sensitive to the subject matter. And I was like looking around. I'm like, I know I'm not that brown, but I'm like, I'm the only fool down here that I feel like would take offense to any of this. I'm like, I think we should cover it. And then he was like, "Oh, if you're gonna have a problem, we can step outside the class and talk about it." And I was like,
He was trying to
"Sure."
call you out? A middle schooler? You're trying to.
He was
Oh
trying to punk
man, he
me
was like, let's
out.
go outside and talk about this, homie.
Yeah, and I was like, "Let's go." So we went out into the hallway, and I was like, "Yo, I don't think you should like just be censoring whatever you feel that's uncomfortable to you. I think we should talk about this, you know." I'm like, I want to know what happened because I'm like, I know that I'm a descendant from the Huichol and I got Chichimeca and like Purepecha.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm like, ¿qué pasó? You know, what? Because I'm like, things are backwards to me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Excuse me. Well, you know, I was like,
Yeah,
you know, what's
that's all
going
good.
on? So
Yeah,
beep,
kidding.
yeah. No, yes, I eventually got like told to go to the principal's office because I was being too disruptive. And so the principal sent me home and I got sent home and my mom was like, "What are you doing home so early?" And I was like, I asked too many questions in the history class and they sent me home. And she's like, "What the?" And she came back and she raised hell and she was like, she got the guy fired. And
Wow.
yeah, so we got another guy that was there and he was worse. He was a güero, but he spoke Spanish. And every time he walked by my desk and he'd be like, "¿Estás feliz?" Like I'm like, really? So it was just like passive aggressive. So I grew up in all that kind of stuff, and I felt like our history has always been hidden, and there is so much like lying. Because I've been told, oh, we're like, man, I was a little ass kid in third grade being asked by grown ass adults, like, hey, do you prefer being called Chicano or are you Mexican? Like, are you Hispanic or Latino? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm barely understanding my times tables. Like, you know, I'm
Right.
like, damn, that's some pretty complex questions, you know.
For real.
But that's kind of how I got into it, man. I just a lot of the microaggression kind of just drove me into really wanting to find out like la verdad, you know, like what am I? Who am I? Where do I belong? You know? And
You know,
pues
I
aquí
think
estoy.
I think that's a lot to do with our gente right now is that a lot of them don't. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't know if they don't want to find out who they are, where they come from, or
Mhm.
if it's just no point of interest to them. Because a lot
Mhm.
of times when they do find out, then they start being a little bit more proud of where they come from and who they are. You know, they get too comfortable.
Simon.
You know,
Like
I
I
did my
like
I did my research on where I came from, my background, and I feel much better about myself. I mean, as a person, uh, you have to know where your beginnings are, where you come from, because if you don't, how you gonna ever find your way in this life? You know, you're gonna
mhm.
continue living, somebody else's reality, somebody else's lie.
No, Simone. I
So
before I did any of this like self journey, self discovery, I felt like a number, you know, like just kind of lost in the matrix and just didn't really feel like I belonged anywhere. You know, sometimes I just didn't belong in sometimes like the Chicanos here because sometimes I didn't want to get down. You know, sometimes some of the fools that I used to hang out with were like little cholitos and stuff. So I was like, I don't
in
want to.
Utah.
Yeah, so we had a lot of like people out of LA. We had
Oh,
Angelina
okay.
Heights out here for a while. We had AZP Aztec Pride out here. Like
Oh
a lot of
yeah,
wannabe
I've heard of
bangers out
them.
here. So
Yeah.
yeah. But it's funny, you know. I just didn't really like. I hung out with them, and I kind of, you know, I did some vagancias here and there, but nothing crazy. But you know, and then I just never really clicked up with them that much, you know. But I always talked about like the history. I'm like, hey man, where's Emiliano Zapata? Where's Pancho Villa? You know, I'm like, we
Right,
really need to
right.
start doing some stuff, man. I'm like, you know, I feel like we're kind of like drifting away from our roots and our like the cause and our mission
Yeah.
out here, todo. So
Do you remember the teacher's name that your mom got fired?
I don't.
No, I was gonna say if
Yeah,
you do, you should reach out to him and thank him for inspiring you to be where you are now.
verdad? No, I'm like, hey, mother.
Sometimes we need a little push like that. Sometimes we need a little, I wouldn't say constructive criticism, but sometimes we need that little,
Hmm.
to bring the rebelness out in us.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
no.
Yeah.
Ever since that point, man, I just dove into history, and I haven't. I mean, I'm still studying. I got like a little mini library going. And I'm always learning new stuff. Like
So is
there's
there an
things that
online class?
No. So I joined a Nahuatl speaking class last year. Right before I joined, I went to massage school to try to learn some more like kind of like traditional healing stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know, cálmate,
Yeah.
cálmate.
Yeah, you know,
No,
hey, you know, I ain't gonna hate. I'm not gonna hate.
but no, I actually got to learn some pretty cool stuff over there. Like one of the
Yeah.
things that I got to learn was this abdominal massage stuff in your stomach. I ain't gonna lie, I thought that was a bunch of like new age, BS. Pero me pucharon bien en el estómago, fool, and then I had to go to the bathroom like crazy. And then I had a whole like emotional crazy release, like where I was mad, I was happy. Like, I mean, I'm talking about hours later, not right there in the
Yeah.
bathroom. Pero
Sounds like
like
Taco Bell.
Simon, it was like 3 years of
Hey,
Taco
hey,
Bell
had
and
him in
like
the
You're like
fetus
happy at
position,
first,
sucking
you're
on his
still on the
thumb,
toilet, so
and
you get mad. Damn it.
no, hombre, no. Me lo saqué todo, fool, and I was like, "Sabes qué, man? I'm all zen and peace now, man. I'm all happy."
mm.
Yeah, man. Let it all
No,
out. Dude, I'm
no,
happy.
that stuff it's got some stuff to it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. How long you been doing what you've been doing with the paintings?
Drawing wise, or like, are you meaning like the digital stuff, or just this
Yeah.
recent stuff?
Well, when did you get started? What did it take for you to get to where you're at now? Did you start with
Man,
cartoons? Did you start with stick figures, get a little paper and making a movie?
so I'm not gonna lie. When we first got into like the U.S., my parents and stuff, like my dad was still trying to get his paperwork address and all that. So we had a pretty rough time, like kind of growing up. There were some hard times with like food, and we
Hmm.
didn't know, we had enough rent money. So muchas cosas pasó, and we were in a pretty
Yeah.
rough neighborhood y todo. So there was a lot of things that happened. My jefito, he used to be a hardcore alcoholic at that time, so he wasn't very present. So I kind of just cartoons and cereal and freaking the Wahanda was my escape, man, and my imagination. So I just dove into that, and I grew up a lot into that, and then I got into boxing for a little bit, and then we moved out of
Right on.
Cali, and we moved up here to Utah, and I couldn't find a boxing class, and so I just dove right into art, and it just it's always been there. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a very like it's almost like a very sacred road that it kind of led me to, because I would like being a visual artist and looking at some of these codices, and I see some of these things. I'm like, I know exactly what that is, and I know what they're trying to like say. And then I look at and like I get this book and stuff, and I do the research, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not too far off. I'm like, that's interesting, and it's like I feel it like it's almost like generational memory or something.
Yeah.
And it's like I recognize some of these images, and I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. I'm like, I feel really connected to some of these things, and so yeah, so I just always wanted to draw and make artwork that would represent la cultura, history, philosophy, all in one image. And so it's like that Toltecayo way. And I try to really embrace that in my own philosophy since growing up and all that. So it kind of just all kind of ties in together.
Right on. I like the language because like Spanish is not our native language. That was something that was
Hmm.
taught to us. So I really appreciate the uh you speaking that way too. That's pretty cool. I think we need to get a class going,
Simone,
you
I
know.
agree. And I think we should
Yeah.
also learn like different native languages. Like after I'm done doing this Nahuatl Loteria version, I plan and I want to work with other different nations like Yaqui and Otoni and different languages so that we can preserve their languages too. And sell it to people who actually want to support, and then use that money to put it back into the community. So
That's a good idea.
It's a great
I
idea.
know I'm familiar with a lot of different natives. I'm in Arizona.
mhm.
So we got the biggest one of the biggest reds, which is Dene.
Mhm.
uh People call it Navajo, but it's not a good term to use. But the Dene people, they it's one of the biggest reds out here. Utah, it covers Utah, all the four corners.
Yeah. Yeah.
um but what's kind of crazy, when they put the Navajo over there, they put the Hopi, and Hopi and Navajo are always fighting. The people are always fighting at war with each other, but they put the Hopi right in the middle of the res. I thought
Yeah.
they were trying to let them fight it out, kill each other out, but it didn't work.
Right.
They ended up bonding.
Mhm.
finding the peace. So you know, and a lot of their uh entities, you know, their gods or some of the stuff that I see in the hieroglyphics and stuff is very similar to the Mexica, to the Aztec or or to those different types of you know, paintings and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah,
there's a connection somewhere there.
yeah. I don't like to talk too much about the subject because I've had so much different feedback, mixed feedback about this kind of thing. But like when I went out to the reservation and I talked to a lot of indigenous people out that way, the Dene, and I got to meet a little bit of Hopi out there in Zuni. And it's the history is very complex because they some of them are very upset about how the Spaniards, you know, once they came over and then they took the Tlaxcalteca and they took some of the Otoni and some of the different warriors like the Mexica, and then had them come all the way up there and colonize them too and like cause all these uprisings and all this stuff. And so a lot of them are pretty bitter about that. So I understand that, and I'm like, I really want to build that bridge. I want to like heal those things, and so that we can build those bridges again because you know a lot of them are kind of bitter from it, but a lot of them are like, hey, we understand, you know, we get it, what you guys had to do what you had to do to survive, and you know, and it's like, but you know, we're also connected, we're still one people. But it is interesting because there is a story out there that talk about how there is a snake clan that
Hmm.
used to live out there and they migrated south, and there was four migrations. And this is backed also in Mexico because in Mexico there's the I think it was Teotihuacan or no, Zapoteca. The Zapotecas have barrios that are dedicated to the Hopi and then the Dene and to the Ute and to other indigenous nations that were up north, as far north as the Cheyenne. So they had barrios dedicated to them in that big capital. And so there was four big migrations that they went back and forth. And
Yeah.
I think, and around that time, if I remember correctly, that's where the Mexica kind of came into play. Well, there were the Aztecat at that point as they were
Hmm.
traveling, and then that's what they saw, and they were like, "Oh, we like what we see here." So,
You know,
it's
I
like,
think this is the same story that I was told on one of the last migrations. uh
mhm.
uh the Mexica came and they were telling these I think it was maybe the Cherokee or somewhere up in that area, and they brought over some artifacts that from the very first migration.
Yeah.
And these and so the Mexica was telling, no, there's a waterfall, and behind the waterfall is a cave, and there you will find the answers. And they ended up going, the Cherokee actually let them go. It may not have been Cherokee, but the Native Americans actually went up there with them. They found the waterfall, they found the cave, and they actually left some offerings there and took some offerings back with them. But that was part of that migration, and this is
Mhm.
over a span of what, 500-600 years or something like that. It wasn't very, maybe it wasn't that long. My memory isn't all that great, but I remember a story something like that. You ever hear that?
Yeah, yeah. So it's actually really fascinating that you brought that up because I'm writing a paper just for fun, and I have a whole thing about how the ancient lake beds. I know it's really old, but they talk about how Aztlan was a white place covered with white herring, and I'm like, that
Hmm.
sounds almost like Salt Lake City to me because it's like really white up there,
Yeah.
and at some point it used to be very swampy, and there was a lot of like birds and different animals that used to live there, and so I'm like, I wouldn't be too surprised if like in that area or even down south, maybe like in the Four Corners region, somewhere in that whole area, because after the fall of Tenochtitlan, about 10,000 Tenochca made it north, and they split two ways. Some went to the Four Corners, and they were welcomed by the Hopi, and the other ones were sent by Cuauhtemoc to hide the rest of the Amochtli and treasures
Hmm.
in one of the cuevas from the original caves. And I know that Chicomoste is being confused as a actual birthplace, but there's a whole rebirthing process that you go through. That when you go through Chicomoste, as you're entering the Valley of Mexico, you have to go through this whole rebirthing process because it's like you're being rebirthed through the womb, and now you're recleansed, and you go into the Valley of Mexico now. And so it's like there's a whole ritual process that you go through all that. And so I think all of this has been lost, but like I've heard a lot of interesting stories, and a lot of people talk about how there was even this tribe up here. up by Salt Lake that when the pilgrims, like the Mormons, came out into Mexico illegally and crossed into Mexico to try and settle out here, trying to get away from the U.S. and so they could practice their polygamy, right? So they
Mhm.
moved into Utah territory and they ran into this specific nation. And I'm trying to remember their name, but they were set out by the Tenochca to make sure that nobody messed with this cave system. And I guess it's like like the pilgrims spent like tons of money looking for this gold or treasure that was there. And like even today, like there's people that go out there and like blow up this area for this cave system, just looking for this stuff. And people have drowned in like Kayenta, if I remember correctly. There's like a lake system. They believe that if you go down and there's like a cave system that goes up or something, then but people talk about how you get down to a certain point and you get choked by some spirits or something. So
Oh
but
man,
yeah, it's interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff out here.
that's enough just to keep me out the water. Shit.
Yeah, no, serio.
I don't I don't mess with the juju stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes I'm afraid of the dark. The
No,
kukui.
hey, and if that's enough, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm also writing a book, and it's called Emotionally Mikitsli, and it's I have over 150 stories right now that have been passed down to me by people on the res, all around
Mm.
town, just people that I've run into in life, and stories that I've made up myself, and it's all based off of like indigenous storytelling. Like it's like, hey, I saw one of those things, the cambia pieles, out here and blah 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 blah, and they told me the story, and I'm like, oh shit. So I write
Well,
that shit down.
you know the
Hmm.
difference with history books and native history, because native history is told, from generation to generation. The
Hmm.
difference is that when the natives do it, it's because they experienced something, whether because they were wanting to write a book.
Simon,
So they
like
have
I,
there's some I think there's some truth to it.
you all heard about La Lechuza, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's one of those fascinating ones. This is one of those images, right? So this is a story that I got told to me, and it inspired me to draw this, right? So there we go. So it's like a owl lady, right? Pero it inspired me, and this is one of those interesting cases because it's like I hear so many different people talk about like, oh, I saw a lechuza and it's in New Mexico, or I saw a
Yeah.
lechuza and it's in Utah or in Texas, and it's like, well, where the hell's the lechuza going, fool? Like I'm like, she's just like, you
Might
know,
be.
flying all over what, like. But they will have different versions of her that people have told me like descriptions and todo. So I'm like, this is part of that book that I'm making, and yeah, talking about all that, like, there's these things called skinwalkers out here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard of those.
That's one of these stories that I got told to me, and this is what they say that they saw. But I had a personal run-in with one. I'm not even gonna lie. This is what I saw,
Oh wow.
and it's sus piernas estaban todas chuecas. They were all messed up.
Yeah. No.
So we saw it was me and a homeboy of mine. We saw this thing, and I'm not gonna try to tie one to the other, but I can't help but wonder if like it was attributed because a homeboy of ours passed away almost immediately after that.
Oh, it's Rudy
Oh
saying
Um,
right
wow.
here.
That's
so yeah.
crazy. I got people out there on the res in the Dene Nation, and a little just a little story. He was out there camping with his girlfriend,
True.
and he owns probably like 200 something acres out there. And out there on the Dene res, your neighbors are like 30, 40 miles away. They're not like next door to you. They're way down the street, right? But he said he was out there camping, the sun was just going down, and he said that he can hear the bushes rustling, like something was in the bushes, and he kept looking, and nothing was there. But as the sun kept going down, it got a little bit darker, a little bit darker. He said that he saw these little guys, probably about knee high, and they were dressed in animal fur, and their eyes were bright red, and
Ooh.
they were shaking the bushes at him and looking at him, just shaking the bushes and running. And he said every time he could see he could see their eyes. He told me that that lasted for about 5 minutes, and he left the fire going. He left out all the stuff, got in his truck, and he left. Came
Yeah.
back the next morning when there was light, and everything was still there. But I was like, shit, I would have left too, but I would have been shooting my gun towards that way or something. But yeah,
Yeah, no,
there's some wicked stories.
there's some stories out here, man, and I, some of them I'm like, did that really happen? But I'm like, I can't help it. But that was a creepy one, so I'm like, every little story that I hear that's like, gives me goosebumps or actually leaves a good
Yeah.
memory on me. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely gonna write about that one. So, but
So
yeah, no,
are you actually writing a book?
yeah, I'm working on two books right now. One is called October 12th, and that one is about like the very beginning of the colonization, and it's about Tila Katzin. You guys know about who Tila Katzin is?
Mm-mm.
So right at the fall, or I think it was the siege of Tenochtitlan and La Noche Triste, there was a warrior called Tila Katzin, and he was part of this trio of warriors that were like elites, right? They were like, think about them like ninjas. Like they were able to disguise themselves in like the clothing of the enemy and blend in and then attack within the ranks. And so that's what he was known for. And so he did exactly that. There was a whole like story about how this warrior dressed up as a conquistador and rose up out of the ranks and like out of like the
Oh
army,
wow.
and he grabbed his makwawit and he like slayed down like 30 Spaniards and took a horse and like lifted it up over his head and threw it in the water.
Damn.
Grabbed these like big ass boulders and then like just threw it at the Spaniards and like caused the causeway to break. And then before they could even react and attack, he was gone. He disappears. And then he kind of like he reappears every so often, like as a guerrilla. Like he comes in and he like attacks them, takes something from them, leaves.
Yeah.
And so he became a legend. And so my story kind of revolves around him, and he becomes cursed by Huehuecoyotl, which is an extension of Tezcatlipoca. And he gets cursed by him because he falls off the Toltecayot way. He shows fear when he should have showed bravery when the Huehuetlatoli elders come over and ask for his wife Xochit's life, essentially in trade for like the balance in the world, because there's a whole part where in my story you get the what you call them, the um, I forgot their names, but they're the long distance traders during the Tenochtitlan. They come back into Tenochtitlan and they're bringing news to Moctezuma, and they're like, hey, we have this word about like these strange men wearing like these strange shells like beetles, and they're riding deer, and they got these sticks that shoot out fire, and it smells like rotten stuff. And so that sets off the whole motion into action, where the elders go towards Tila Katzin's house, and they're like, hey,
Mhm.
we looked in the calendar, and your wife was born on the day of the rain and water. So that means that she's going to have to give up her life so we can set up this whole balance, and so that we can avoid any kind of transgression onto us. And so he gets upset, and he yells at them, and he kind of, that's where things kind of fall apart for him, because he's falling off the traditional path. And so he storms away, and there's it's a really deep story. It's going to get really involved with all this like philosophy, but essentially that's where he kind of falls off, and then comes back just at the moment as like there's Spaniards chasing his wife, and like she jumps into the water with her kids, and he thinks that by the time he runs up there, he thinks that the elders had done their job. He doesn't see the Spaniards attacking her, and so he gets there and he just sees her getting her body retrieved from the water, and then he just loses it, and he runs out into the jungle, and that's where he runs into Huehuecoyotl, and then he becomes a Nahual. So he's kind of cursed. He becomes cursed, and he's unable to die, and he's just a complete 100% tool used by the Teteotl. Anytime there's some kind of colonial violence or something going on in the world, he's literally forced to come alive from dust, from nothing into dust, into a physical form of himself. And it could be
Wow.
different objects, and he takes on different forms, but he's there for one thing, to set the tone,
The balance.
set the balance. And I want this story. So right now I got 13 books set up. The spines are all set up, and I'm just writing it, all the detail in. But I want to end this in a way where future generations can pick it up, because I
Oh
want the
yeah,
future
yeah.
generations, because I have it set up so it's like from 1491 in the Caribbean all the way to right now 2025. and he's it opens up with him walking in Death Valley, and then ICE agents like harassing this family, and so it's like I'm setting it up so it's like right now current events. But it opens up like that, and then it trails into like he has a flashback to like ancient times, and it kind of opens up the whole story like that. And then, but yeah, I want to set up so that for future generations, whenever there's more shit going on, somebody can pick that up and be like, yeah, it's time for like a thing to come back, and make more stories.
Well, that's the thing about this world we live in. There's going to be stories.
Oh,
History repeats itself. It's crazy from colonial days to now. It's just certain things are a little bit different.
mm-hmm.
So there's going to be plenty to write about.
No, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, welcome to the show, Rita.
Rita.
Yeah, sorry. Hi, hello. Sorry I'm a little late, but I just got the tail end of that. That's beautiful, by the way. And I have to just put it out into the universe. We got to make a series on TV. That sounded awesome. So I can't wait to see that. We have to. That sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. So we got to make that happen. So we got to speak it into existence. But yeah, that sounds really cool. I love that. I love that idea.
You should that would be cool if we had like a short, like not like an infomercial type of thing, raise people's awareness and their curiosity, and we may find another guy in the rough that this is what they need to get pushed and lead the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I like movies. I like movies more than books.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course. Yeah. I mean, it captures your attention instantly. So I think what he was saying about, picking up the story right now, I think that's brilliant. There's a writer out there who's being inspired, and, these sparks are the words are creating these sparks, and they might pick up the story and go into a different direction and continue. So that's awesome. I love that. Planting semillas. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Okay, what else did I miss, guys?
The writing of 2 books that he didn't say when they're gonna be done though.
So I got emotionally Mikitsli pretty much done. I'm just editing these last 5 stories right now. So I'm hoping that by maybe I want to try to release it by October or November next year, so that way it kind of falls in line with Dia de los Muertos and that time when people are talking about scary stories and everything. So I'm hoping to release that by then. October 12th is going to still take me quite a while to write. I'm only on book 1, chapter 5 right now, so it's definitely in the works.
Wow. Okay. What about artwork? Are you working on the artwork to go along with that?
Yeah, so I am. I haven't done anything for October 12th, but I have worked on some artwork for the Emotionally Mikitsli. I just barely showed some of the artwork on here. Actually, let me bring that up real quick for you.
That is so awesome.
So this one is you guys ever heard of the story de la Tlanchala?
Let's pretend that we haven't. Yeah.
So it's an old story, and it's out of like Mexico, central Mexico, and if I remember right, it's more Otoni, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong too out there, but it's about like a sirena, a mermaid who lures men, adulterers basically. She's like a siren, and she instead of having like a fish like body lower half, she has a serpent like body, or like an eel's body. But she lures men out and she drowns them and eats them. So that's the Tlanchala. And so I have a really interesting story based off of her alone that I've been told. And then I have earlier we were talking about La Lechuza. So this is like one of the Lechuza images that I worked on.
Nice. Oh my gosh, I love it.
And then this one is another one. And I'm kind of inspired by scary stories to tell in the dark. So that's kind of where this whole Emotionally Mikitsli idea came from. Because I read the writer's note, and the guy said he was like Romanian, Greek, and he had been told all these stories when he was a kid. And so I was like, hey, why don't we have any stories like that? So I was like, I want some representation también, you know. So
Right.
I was like, well, I know how to make stories. I've been told a lot of stories, and I can draw. So I'm like, why don't I do it?
Absolutely.
Do you
I
have any
love it.
chupacabra?
The chupacabra. I've been told some interesting stories about the chupacabras, but I don't have anything drawn for them yet. But yeah, this one's a Ravenmocker. This one's a Cherokee legend that was told to me.
That's amazing. I love this. Yes, series. I'm thinking series. We got to do it. Yeah. This is so cool. I love it. Wow.
And then this one's a Skinwalker. This one's based off on a story that was told to me a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually interesting because I was talking to a friend of mine about how similar Skinwalkers and Nahuales are,
Yes.
but they're like very uniquely different at the same time. But it's still very interesting how similar they really are.
Yeah.
Yes.
You got a
Yes.
question on here.
Oh, ¿qué pasó?
Can you see it? Do you have the story of La Llorona?
La Llorona, I do. I have 5 stories. One of them, my dad told me personally. So that one's actually an interesting one. It's I just wrote it a couple weeks back. So I think you guys would thoroughly enjoy that one. It's I have it with a little twist ending there. So
Nice.
You know,
I love it.
where I come from, Imperial Valley, California, near the canals, they have a big old triangle sign like this, yellow, and then they have a picture of her there. And they have in certain areas where the canals are. Um, and I've heard the cries and the screams, but it's been I don't know if it's been proven, but someone told me that it was the wind, the way it hits the canal, the water in the canal, and because the canals are kind of, they're narrow, so it's the way it hits, the wind hits it, it makes these weird noises, and so that's why they got those signs of her, like at the canals and stuff. Well, that's not. I understand the story about the mother drowning her kids and crying out for her, but these signs are all by the canals,
You're
which
giving
is
us
a
a sneak
trip.
peek of the other stuff here, huh?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is bad, man. This
I
is bad.
So
love this.
so this is a loteria card game that I'm working on right now, and I'm taking the original images, the loteria, and I'm converting them literally into like the images that we probably would have written down if we had our own loteria. For
Mm.
example,
Oh, I
like
love it.
this is El Valiente. So I went ahead and replaced him with this one over here, and this one's actually based on a warrior that he was a Tlaxcala warrior. He was captured, and when he got captured by the Mexica, they said like, hey, like we really want you to be a part of our ranks, and he was like, chale, I want to die like a warrior, so put me on that stool over there, and I'm gonna fight some of your best warriors until I die. And so he died with valor, and the Mexica really honored that shit, and so they were like, we're gonna immortalize your story. And so this is him, and this is his like image right here. So I thought he was a good replacement for El Valiente.
Right on.
And
That's awesome.
this one I'm working on right now. Currently, this is a pantli for a replacement for la bandera.
What's the logo on the top?
Oh yeah. Let me. So that's my name. So every time you see that image there, that's my signature. So I have it all over on this loteria card game. I have
Oh, right
him.
on.
There he is right here too.
Oh, bad. Look at that. That's the
I
drum,
love
huh?
it.
Yep. El tambor, the replacement for el huehuet.
I love that. That's so awesome. So we're gonna have to get together on that, because remember I was telling you that I shared a little bit about that back in the day. My son wrote a story about it was a story that he submitted to the Watsonville Film Festival, and it was actually chosen to be made into a film. He ended up stepping away from the project only because there were too many things that were being changed, and so he pulled the project. But we were just talking about that with a few friends, and we're like, you know what, I think right now it's time to bring it back to life and to actually film it and get it done. So and it's actually called Loteria Oscura. So
Oh,
because
okay.
Yes. So I would love to share the manuscript with you and see what you think about that, so we could get that actually done and worked on. That would be so cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, you see, this is so cool. I love this. Wow, this is really cool. I love that. Yeah, that's
Classical
beautiful art.
Makli.
It's so cool. Wow.
Yep.
So what do
I'm
you do with
getting
your paintings?
that's bad.
So right
That
now,
is that
I've
is
been working.
dope.
Sorry, there we go. Right now, I was working with a carnal. His name was Juan, and he was out of Rhode Island. Pero con todo lo que pasó con Trump, his green card like went up and everything, and so he had the option of self deportation or being deported, and so he went to go be self deported, and so he had to sell all the we had to sell all the printing equipment that we had because we were gonna do this on our own. But yeah, he
Wow.
had to sell everything. He moved back, and I think he's in Nayarit, if I remember correctly now. But
Wow, that sucks.
yeah, so we're kind of taking a big hit right now. But he's just told me like keep doing it, keep doing it. He's like we got plans. We can probably make them still work, and then he's got some ideas y todo. So I've been pumping them out still. But no, yeah, I mean I got all sorts of things. Like this is a lanyard that we were working on.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
so cool.
Pero no,
I
hombre,
love
tú
Those
digas,
lanyards you were talking about earlier, are those beaded or are they just colored?
colored. Oh shit. Yeah, no, it's all colored. This is a bandana that I'm trying to make happen.
that. Ooh, that's nice. That's really cool. So what inspires you when you come up with a design? Like, what is it that inspires you? What is it that you think about? Like, what is before you actually put it onto print?
Well, de verdad, I go around and I'm like, I go and look at the clothing and I'm like, man, I really would like to see more indigenous clothing. I would like to see more indigenous like representation, jewelry. I'm like, we had some of the
Yes.
most beautiful jewelry I have ever seen in my life, and so I'm like, it would be so cool to be able to see more jewelry being rocked and like, more cultura, like
Yes.
embracing our original, culture and arts and philosophy. So I really do my best to like incorporate a lot of my own philosophy into my artwork as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
aquí está like.
I
But yeah,
love
that's kind of what
that.
inspires me. It's just I want to see more representation, and so I'll sometimes see some stuff out in the open, when I'm out in the wild, and I just like, hey, I really like this, and I get inspired, and it just gets all the creative juices going y todo. So like I just start drawing like
Yes.
really quick sketches. I'll do like really rough draft. Oh my gosh, really rough drafts. And then later on, I just go in and I edit it and I make it better. Sometimes I'll just grab a piece of paper or like I'll have like a little sketchbook that I carry with me, and I just sketch in there really quickly, and then I like take the picture, upload it on my tablet, and then I'll edit it and make it look better y todo. So
How do you say the name of that
Yes.
dog? It's like Cholo or something like that, right?
yeah, that's a Sholo Squinkly. I actually
Yeah.
have one.
Yes.
Oh, that's the
Do you for
hairless
real?
dog.
Yeah, his name is
Yes.
Metzli.
Oh,
That's the hairless
I
dog,
love
huh?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are actually pretty
That
Have
cool.
you
dog's
ever
expensive.
ha- have you ever thought of teaching a class?
I would love to. No, I would love to. I don't know enough Nahuatl to be able to say like I'm very confident in teaching, but I have the
Mm,
books and I've been taught by a couple of people how to speak some Nahuatl and how to like enunciate certain words y todo. Pero I
Mm.
am not like a professional at all yet. Pero I would love to teach like the history. I know more history of like different things in history. Pero when it comes to language, yeah, I'm a little shy still.
mm. But what about a class in art as well? Because the
Oh,
history
see.
is, yes, that would be beautiful, I think, because how you're saying that, you want to see more representation. I think making or helping our young people comfortable with identifying as to who we are and telling
Mm-hmm.
these stories, it it kind of like los inspira, and los hace, ¿cómo se dice? Reconocer de que pues you know what, I am beautiful. Being who I am is beautiful. I'm not gonna, you know, make myself small because it makes, you know, my neighbor uncomfortable, whatever. But being who I am is beautiful, and this is what it means, you know. And I think sometimes I don't know, we were taught to kind of hide that part. And I think it's important that you're out there talking about your art and, you know, all the things that you're sharing. And I think sharing that with our young people, that'll be helpful as well, because it's going to help them, ¿cómo se dice? Pues compartir también cómo son y quiénes son, and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
inspire them to just be out there. You know what I'm saying? So I think that would be cool. I mean, I love that you're doing this, and I just want you out there as much as possible so that others are not afraid to just show who they are and show their colors and be proud to wear, you know, whatever they want to wear. You know what I mean? To represent who they are and where they come from, because our cultura is beautiful, you know?
No, see.
So,
Yeah. So are you gonna be you so you're gonna go to the Christmas event there in Bakersfield? I believe that's where it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it out there this winter or this Christmas for the I think it's the Three Kings event.
Yes.
So yeah,
yes.
I'm gonna try and go out there for that AES day. I'm also gonna try and make it out for the Martin Luther King event and the Chicano Park event. So I'm gonna try to make it out there.
I'll be out there for Chicano Park for sure.
Nice.
And some of your artwork gonna be at the Three Kings or in Chicano Park? Are you gonna bring any of your books or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring. So I'm making a coloring book right now. So that was that one. Those symbols that you saw earlier that
Yeah.
I was working on. So I'm gonna get that so we can get like a coloring book for the kids and everything. Y luego I'm gonna make a piece. Let me see if I can bring that out. I'm working on that one right now. But this one's the one. Here we go. So it's inspired off of the the medicine wheel, the Lakota medicine wheel.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not Lakota. I don't have any blood relations to them and everything. So out of respect, I'm not gonna take their idea, but I'm gonna be taking our four directions that kind of remind me of it, and I'm gonna put like a person representing like the red nation, the black nation, the white nation. But I know we got blue here, so I'm gonna put just a representation of a person in that area, just different nations representing different people from different nations coming together, and I'm gonna put like a sun coming out right here. And back in the day, whenever we had the sun symbolized on an emotionally, that usually represented who was in power. And so I'm gonna have the symbol for like unity in that sun, and I'm gonna have like the people coming together right here in a circle and with their arms raised up, and so it's like they're pushing the sun up, and that's the reign of the new sun that we're in today, is a power of unity, balance. And I'm gonna put a bunch of different
I love
designs around here.
Does each one of those color have a significant meaning?
Yeah,
Like the Lakota, like
so with the Lakota, they was like the red, yellow, white, and black, and that represented each different nation. So in our four directions, red represents the rising sun, blue represents the south, black represents nighttime or also death, and then the white one also represents west, which is the rising or the setting sun. And so yeah, that's what each color represents. And over time, that kind of gets a little confused because a lot of people are like, oh, so because Quetzalcoatl comes from the west and he was associated with the color white, so was he a white man with a blonde beard? Chale, no, he wasn't. So a lot of people say that, but he had
he
actually
wasn't
like
the fake
you can see it.
Jesus, huh?
Yeah, you can see in the codices, man. He's got feathers. They're like golden feathers that are coming underneath that mask he has. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's not blonde and blue eyes. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I love
That's
it.
interesting how
So
you
is
have the
this,
four
I have a
colors up there.
question.
Sorry, what was that?
That's so awesome.
I think it's interesting how you have the four colors because um I'm part Native American and I do ceremonies, sweat lodges and Sundance, Blecha, stuff like that. Um so I thought that was pretty cool for the four colors.
Thank you. No, I was like, I like a lot of what our Lakota relatives have to say and stuff, and so I like their Unity. And I really wanted to kind of incorporate that Unity style into our 4 directions here. So like I'm also gonna have like a saying probably somewhere in there, but it's based off of like the Nahuatl understanding of like you are me and you, or it's like you are I or I are you or something like along those lines. But it talks about how like even though we might speak the same language, we might still have a misunderstanding, but it doesn't mean that we can't work it out and understand one another. That's the philosophy behind it.
Mhm. I love that. Yes. Now, is that the piece that you're gonna donate to the Christmas event, to the Dia de Reyes event, or are you
Yeah,
gonna make something different?
yeah. So this is the art piece I'm going to be doing for that one, and I'm also going to be doing that coloring book.
That is awesome. So you did tell Carlos and Commander Benny the idea behind that, like that you're gonna actually you're gonna donate it so that they could raffle it off and get money for the event.
I haven't said that. No, actually, can you speak more on that? Actually,
Oh, sorry, sorry. Yeah. Well, so what it was that, I think that's awesome that he wanted to do that. He thought of, because we're trying to think of, collaborating, trying to think about, how we could get money to help support, the event. And so he was like, you know what, I could make a painting, a drawing, and, we could raffle that off and, to get tickets, and we'll raffle those off and, to get money for the event. And I think that's amazing, because I think you were talking about doing it like 4 parts, right? Like it was
yeah.
gonna be like one big giant. Yeah, that'd be so cool. I already
Yeah, I
know
like
like a few
that.
people that are actually telling me like, when is he gonna start raffling tickets, because I want one. So yeah, that's so cool. I thought that was a really brilliant idea. I love it. And then the whole Unity thing, that is amazing. I love that.
Will it be a
Well,
Because that message.
raffle or an auction? It'll be a raffle.
Um. Well, either or. What do you guys think?
No, I
I
don't
think we could
care.
talk about that too. Yeah. But I thought that was really cool. Yeah, I thought
Okay.
that was really cool of our brother to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
amazing. That's so
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But he's gonna have to put some information down where to get his books, where to get more
Yeah.
paintings if somebody else wants
Yes.
to purchase something or something like
Yes.
that. So
right
Yes.
now, yeah, I only got my Instagram, so I'm only kind of doing what you call it, like a commission. So I just feel free to hit me up on Instagram anytime, and I'll do what I can, and we can do a cash app or Venmo or como sea.
how
What's
long
your
does it usually
I
take to
Instagram?
love
do a
it.
painting?
Uh,
I,
depending on the detail, it could take me
yeah.
a month or a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And your
That is so
Instagram?
cool.
And my Instagram is the same name, Akweyapaki Chtakat. Is the same as Facebook and on Snapchat as well.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Can we add it to like the podcast, like a link somewhere, so if anybody
Absolutely.
wants to follow? And yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. That is so awesome. Yeah, this is really cool. This was really interesting, even though I missed half of it. But I really appreciate you sharing. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing all of your knowledge and your art and all of that. That's amazing. I love it. Thank you so much.
Classical Mackley for having me on. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to talk to me and everything. And yeah, I'm excited to work with you guys and just, get La Raza out there and La Causa out there and helping people out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll probably see you at Chicano Park Day in April.
Orale, I look forward to that.
Yeah, yeah, that's my
Yes.
hometown, San Diego. So I like to go back.
Orale.
So,
Yay.
yeah, definitely, and hopefully you could bring something. Uh, maybe one of your books or something will be done. We'd like to check it out.
Simone, no, I'll let you know as soon as I
Yes.
get that. October 12th is probably the soonest one, or not, sorry. Emotionally Mikisli is probably the one that's going to be out soon. So I'll keep you guys
Okay,
posted on that.
Yeah.
right
I'm gonna get
on.
a
Yes.
copy.
Love
I'm
that.
ordering.
I
I
know.
know, right? I love it. That's
Right,
so
right.
I'm
cool.
more into I'm more into the painting, unless it's a picture book. Then
And they're all going to be
Mm,
pictures. They're all going to
yeah,
have
if it'll be
pictures.
a
So I got you. I got
yeah,
you.
okay, all right. I like picture books. No, I like paintings though. I
nice.
really do. I really like the paintings.
I got you. If you ever want some paintings, let me know. I can make a badass Emiliano Zapata, Cuauhtemoc, all sitting and chilling, tomando una cervecita, drinking
I've
some
got a few.
pulque.
I got a few ideas
Canelo.
in my phone. I'll have to get with you.
Órale, I'll be down for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes,
All right, Rita,
I love it.
take us out, Rita.
Yes. No, you guys. I mean, I came on here late, so I'm just listening to you
Take us
guys.
out. Tell everybody thank you for listening. Tune in next week at
Yes,
3
that
p.m.
what you say.
every Tuesday.
Yes, muchas gracias.
Share.
Cada martes, yes, cada
If you
martes a
haven't-
las 3 de la tarde, por favor compartan, watch us, listen,
Like and subscribe.
absolutamente, yes.
Thank
Don't
you
forget to
all.
like and
Thank
share
you guys.
that podcast.
That's
Simone.
right.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll see you all
Thank you
next week.
guys.
Thank you.
I love
Gracias,
us.
Mati.
We see you guys.